I don't know if this is on. Test, 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 test. Yeah, it's on. Okay. So, this is take one. Last week I talked to David Shepard. He sent me to start filming. Film me. Witness me. And I just came from the ocean. So I was thinking about the first time I went surfing. 20 years ago I was working my tail to the bone. Essentially I was working to live. And I thought that if I didn't go 12,000%, my family would be destitute. We wouldn't have enough money. I wouldn't be able to pay the mortgage. The kids wouldn't have, shoes on their feet. So I was in therapy at the time, and my therapist, George Lau, said, "You need to find the beach bum within." And what happened was I went into a session and I was telling him about how I was working so hard, and it was just crazy, and I was, really killing myself. And I felt like I was on a treadmill. I told him I'm on a treadmill, and he said, "You need to find the beach bum within." So I took him literally, and I decided that Fridays I would start to go to the beach, like, after lunch, noon, whatever. I would call it a day. Day over, going to the beach. So I figured I wanted to get in the water. I wasn't a surfer. I wasn't anything really. I remember I was just a couple years sober, and part of that I really didn't know how to play. I knew how to kill myself, but I didn't know how to play. I knew how to get loaded 24/7, but I didn't know how to breathe. I didn't know how to live. And recreation wasn't something that I, felt like I could do. So I was talking to this guy named Al Craig at one of the meetings that I go to, one of the 12-step meetings, and he says, "Hey man, why don't you start boogie boarding? I'll go with you. We'll go boogie board." And we talked about boogie boards, and we talked about wetsuits. We talked about getting these gloves that have webbing in them. That'll give you more oomph for your effort, and all kinds of stuff. So I had a boogie board from before. I'd bought one at some point. I was at a Venice meeting at Rose, right on the ocean, and someone had a boogie board, and I got to go out, and it was fun. So I got a boogie board back then when I was living on Venice, and I guess I got some fins. I don't remember the fins, but I did get the boogie board, and I went out my first day. I went to, I think, La Piedra, just north of Malibu, Trancas, one of those small beaches where you hike down. And I remember being like so confused that I think I actually put the leash that goes on your wrist on my ankle, which, didn't work because there wasn't enough. And I don't think I guess I didn't have fins, because it didn't really work that well. And you got to have fins for a boogie board. So one day I went again on another Friday, subsequent Friday. I went with a worker, the guy that worked for me, John Gause. We went to Coral Beach. In fact, that might have been the first time. I think it was the first time. It was the first time. I remember now. I don't know why I invited him, but I guess because I was scared. I was scared to go alone. I didn't know how to go to the beach on Friday. I literally did not know how to go to the beach on Friday. So me and Gause flew out to Coral, my Taurus, and that's when, yeah, that's right. That's when I had the leash on my ankle instead of my wrist. So I got pounded. Shore break, not a good place to boogie board. But I went, and then I went that following week to La Piedra by myself. Felt a little more confident. I guess I'd gotten a wetsuit because there was just no way you're going to go out in the ocean by your, skin really any time of the year other than the peak of the summer. And it wasn't the peak of the summer, it was probably springish. So a subsequent Friday, I'm wrapping things up, and this vendor, Steve Christensen, who worked for a company called Canal, he was the Lennox rep for Lennox saw blades, and he goes, "Hey, what's happening?" I go, "Oh, dude, I gotta go. I'm going to the beach." He goes, "You, the beach?" Because I was Quasimodo. I was tied to my desk. They literally, not literally, but may as well have slid my meals under the goddamn door. I was chained to my desk, hunched over, pounding. I pounded the phone, making sales from daybreak to sunset. And so Christensen goes, let's go surf. I go, "I don't know how to surf." He goes, "Oh, that's okay. I'll teach you. We'll go." So the following Friday, he gave me his address, and we hadn't had any, you know, other than professional relationship prior to then. Went to his house in Monrovia. He had an Astro van. He had this huge wave riding vehicle board that had to have been 10 foot and 4 inches thick and probably 24 inches wide. And he had another board, I don't remember what it was. We got out there in the morning around 10, Bolsa Chica, shot down the 605. The beach was pretty much deserted. It was a gorgeous late spring, early summer day. It wasn't summer yet, but it was summerish. It was warm. The sun was, you know, just incredible. The water was magical. You could see, you know, up to your thighs. You could see your feet on the sand, and it was just incredible. So I didn't catch any waves before lunch. I was on a shorter board, bobbing around like a friggin' buoy. I didn't have a clue. How do you have a clue, you know, the first time? So we got out and went to Jack in the Box and got some lunch, and then came back, and I took a million pictures of some seagulls, and we paddled back out. This time he put me on the big longboard, and he didn't take a board. He just went out and said, "I'm going to push you into waves." And that's when it all began. That's when it all began. I was in probably waist to shoulder high water, and there were small waves. They were reform waves, where the wave breaks and then reforms, and you're kind of more on foam than anything. And he pushed me in my first wave, and I got up, and I think that was probably the first time the iron links of bondage had been severed, and freedom shot through every part of my body, and I became a surfer. Namaste. Okay. Kind of do. Let's see. I guess. Right.